Welcome back, everybody. We're finishing up with this because I think you want to talk about some other stuff. But to answer the question,
I don't. I like crapping on Democrats, man. I don't get to do that very often with my own beloved Republican Party shooting themselves, and they have to have like 25 feet. I mean, they have to have feet like toes because they keep shooting themselves in it. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, my point is you're talking about how monumentally stupid. You kind of wonder that if it was supposed to be a clandestine conversation, Bill Clinton knows how to make that happen. You can't tell me that as a former president that he doesn't know how to get a message to Loretta Lynch if he wants to. And so there are ways to make that conversation the hey, don't indict Hillary because of these 4 things conversation. Now, do you suppose that is it inconceivable that as they're sitting on the plane, Bill Clinton maybe said something along the lines of, "Can you believe this campaign and this guy on the other side? This country is gonna, if he gets elected, this country is gonna go up in flames." Maybe he's sly enough to do something like that. I don't know. But I think that if it was nefarious, we wouldn't know about it. I think the fact that we know about it means that it probably wasn't. Because Bill Clinton, if you're going to say that he's smart enough to try and tip the scales, or he's a political animal enough to try and tip the scales, then he's smart. That means you concede that he's smart enough. And if he's smart enough, that means that he's probably going to be able to do it without us knowing about it.
Well, yeah, but you also have to keep in mind, he is a rather giant narcissist, and a lot of times these narcissists don't think they get caught. I deal with that all the time. So, because, I'm a narcissist, I don't think I'd get caught. You're a narcissist. You never think you get caught.
Oh, I think I get caught. I confess to people when I do something wrong. I blow the whistle on myself because I can't handle the guilt.
That's right.
I have too much of a guilt complex to be a narcissist, pal.
I will tell me at the break. I will tell you what my brother Joe said about that very thing. One of the things that keeps getting brought up, and we talked about this in an earlier segment, is carelessness versus recklessness versus gross negligence. And I'm no lawyer, but as I was reading the testimony of Director Comey, it seemed to me he was describing gross negligence, what she was doing. And then he would say, but that's just carelessness. That's not really negligence. Now, have you read the transcripts?
I listened to some sound bites of it.
So, all right. So my question is can you explain to all of our listeners on both left and right why this is just carelessness when he's gone out and described what seems to me negligence? Not being careful with where she's putting her email, sending out classified emails on her unsecured server, all this other stuff on her private server. I should say.
There's still no good evidence that any classified material went in or out that was marked classified at the time. There are some that contain things that were deemed classified after the fact. The information that was up classified, which happens all the time, but there still is the State Department has cleared that aspect of it. Comey even came back and corrected some of his testimony about that. As far as the carelessness would rest in maybe having an unsecured or not as well secured private server as opposed to a government server, but the United States the Pentagon got hacked. I guess I don't know. And it's funny, we were talking to IT guys at the office today. We've been putting in having people bid to get our office wired up with a firewall and backups and all the kinds of things that you need to have secure data nowadays. And every IT guy we've talked to said, "Hey, look, we'll do the best we can for you, and we'll be on call for you and talk you through this stuff. But just know." It's a constant process. People are sending in viruses all the time. Viruses are getting better. Hackers are getting better, so the software needs to keep up. I just don't know that it's are we so sure that the federal government, right? The federal government is going to be much better than what she had set up. They seem to think so, and she seemed to concede that. So I'm not trying to sit here and make the argument that what she was doing wasn't a mistake. She said that herself. But what I am suggesting is that if the level of culpability here is the mode with which you handled your email, as opposed to I'm intending to take state secrets away from the government and do something nefarious with them, it doesn't rise to that second thing at all.
Okay.
At least from what the evidence said, from what Jim Comey said.
Now, the Department of Justice and the FBI have recommended no charges. The State Department had suspended their investigation pending the FBI investigation. Now, the State Department has now reopened the investigation. What's the latest on that? I mean, I haven't seen anything in the last couple of days.
It's mainly, they said that they'd said all along they would do that. And so I don't think anybody thought it was much of a surprise, unless you're a clickbait Facebook news organization that wants to drive traffic.
Well, but we both are.
I think right now they're looking to see if anybody violated or was responsible for some sort of departmental administrative sanction in doing this. I mean, the IG's report came out and said that the server itself broke a number of rules. So if they come out after the fact and say, hey, this server business was a problem, we would have maybe slapped the Secretary of State on the wrist for it. I don't know what they can do now that she's not the Secretary of State, but sure. they may come out with some sort of postmortem.
Now we've already talked a little bit. You don't think this is going to impact her candidacy at all?
No. This is similar to having this happen now. I mean, it did kind of stink that it happened the same day that she had her first joint appearance with Barack Obama. That took the wind out of that.
Yes, it did.
In a pretty big way. But this is July. Had this happened in September, I mean, she saw a couple of points dip on the 538 projection that still has her winning 77.8% to Trump's 22 or whatever it is, 77.2 to his 22.8 or something like that. Their projection, their chances to win. That had been like an 80% before he came out and said what he had to say. So yeah, she took a hit in the polls for that, but Trump's response was typical Trump. He can't just say, hey, look, Hillary is, we all know what Hillary Clinton is, and we all know that she was careless. He can't make that case against her. He has to say that she bribed Loretta Lynch, that Jim Comey is corrupt, and that the whole thing was rigged. Which is just that's not going to play with people in the middle because they know Jim Comey isn't bought and paid for. He was the guy that went against George Bush when the AG, the first AG, Ashcroft, was on his deathbed and refused to sign those orders that gave the sweeping torture powers. Remember that? He was about to lose his job when he was the assistant director at Justice. So he's an independent thinker is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, he's independent towards the left, and that's what we have to watch out for is, some cronyism there. Now, the trick is we're up against another break. I just said that to irritate Lefty, and I like doing that. We're going to come back after this break. We're going to what do you want? You want to move on to Black Lives Matter? What do you want to do? All right, so we've talked about it. Hillary, I personally think it's going to affect her. I don't think it's going to affect the outcome. Trump did get a small boost from this. I'm not sure that's a sustainable boost. We'll be back right after this break. We're going to thank you for tuning in. Without you, couldn't do what we do. We're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter and its impact on the politics of today. Thanks, everybody, tuning in.